episode of the Glow Up Guide podcast. So today's episode is all about living in the moment because life's way too short. I have been wanting to do this episode for the last few weeks because recently pretty much all I've been thinking about is how short life is. Because I'm going to high school. I'm starting high school this fall and I'm kind of freaking out about it. So that's not really fun, but yeah. I do have an episode on living in the moment already, so definitely go listen to that one if you haven't already. But that one is probably my 7th episode, I think. So almost a year and a half ago at this point, and I have gained plenty of new insights on living in the moment since then, and I wanted to share them with you all. And before moving on, though, let's start with our podcast updates and life updates. So podcast updates, literally nothing. I actually have no clue if I mentioned this, but I hit 1,000 plays a while ago, so pretty big milestone for me. And then my life updates, also not much, but my track season started, and it's not exactly going great. I'm regretting this more than I already did, which is a lot, so I didn't even know that was possible. My mom is convinced that I'm going to be amazing, regardless of seeing me absolutely fail. We had to run a 400 meters test, and on Tuesday when the season started, and my limbs just stopped functioning halfway through, and it was just horrible. My coach at the end, he looked at me and he was like, "Good job," but the look in his face was like, I did not do well, and I was like, "Oh God." And I have never felt physically weaker in my entire life. So regardless of all the runs I've been doing and the workouts I've been doing for the past 6 months to try and prepare myself for track, all of that suddenly feels useless. I mean, it's definitely been helpful, but I feel very weak. I've never actually felt physically weaker in my entire life. To be honest, I am not a strong person. I strength train and stuff, but literally 5-pound dumbbells, I am not a strong person at all, and it's not helped that my genetics, because I have a very lower body, very lower body, very strong lower body, but the weakest upper body ever. So it doesn't really help. I mean, it kind of does help, running, having strong legs when you run, that does help. But my upper body, it's just so weak. I literally can't. So now I'm trying to strength train and whatnot, and I have to create a new workout plan, and it's just chaos. My life is chaos. School is kicking my ass as always. So pretty busy week. Not really busy, but it's going to be a busy next few months because my SOL test coming up. I have to start studying this week, so that's fun as always. Moving on. So one thing I'm grateful for and one thing we're happy about plus our book of the week. Okay, one thing I'm grateful for, and this is kind of out of nowhere, but also not, is my curly hair, because I saw this reel on Instagram, and it was there were these two, and it was a skit of two girls with curly hair meeting in a bathroom, and one of them had hair that looked straight but very damaged, and then the other had curly hair, a straightener in her hand, and the girl with the straight damaged hair was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your no wait," the girl with the curly hair was to the other one was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair. I wish my hair looked like that." And the girl with the straight damaged hair goes, "Thanks, I love your hair too." I remember when mine used to be curly, and the girl with curly hair was used to be, and the other girl was like, "Yeah, I straightened my hair so much that the curls just disappeared." And and then she was like, "I miss my curls," and then it just ended there, and that made me so sad for honestly no reason. No reason to make me that sad, but I was just there's so many people that literally hate their curly hair so much. And sometimes, yes, I do wish I had straight hair. I do wish that my hair was less work. But to be honest, would I really give up my hair to have straight hair? No, I wouldn't, because I love my curly hair. And even before I found out I have curly hair, I still used to think that curly hair was beautiful, and now that I know how much work it is, I think it's even more beautiful. And I find curly hair just it's so pretty. And yeah, I don't get the hate against curly hair personally, but yeah, I'm just really grateful for my hair. And then one thing I'm happy about is, let's see, probably the fact that I'm supposed to hang out with one of my friends tomorrow, who I haven't hung out with in a while. His monitor just got cut or something, I don't even know. But yeah, so that's something I'm excited about. And then our book of the week, I actually don't think I have one. I finished the Inheritance Game series. That's all I've been recommending for the past month now. But I don't actually have one right now. I'm reading One of Us Is Back by Karen McManus, and it's the third book in the One of Us Is Mine series, which was all over social media a while ago. It's a really good series. I would recommend you go read it if you like mystery and stuff. It was amazing. I'm like halfway through, I think. So yeah, but I can't find the book literally anywhere. Like I wanted to read it yesterday, but I just could not find it in my house. So that's fun. A book went missing in my house, and I don't know how. So that's great. Okay, so moving on to the actual episode. First off, I wanted to share a story that I heard a really long time ago somewhere. I did mention this in my last Live in the Moment episode, but I wanted to mention it again because it has really stuck with me, and I think that considering I don't remember things, if something sticks with me for as long as it did, I think I heard this story maybe like when I was like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know. So like since I don't remember things, if something sticks with me for that long, it's important in my eye. So yeah, but it stuck with me to this day. Okay, so there was this boy. He was in elementary school, and the whole time he was in elementary school, he would always be like, "Man, once I get to middle school, that's when my life will really begin." And then once the boy got to middle school, he found it wasn't really that great. He wasn't like it just wasn't that good. And then he kept thinking, "Man, once I get to high school, that's when my life will really begin, and that's when I can start to live." After that, when this boy he got to high school and it wasn't that great, and he was like, "Okay, so this wasn't great, but once I get to college, my life will really begin." The boy gets to college, and guess what? He's like, "Okay, so this sucks, but once I get out of college and get a job, my life will really begin." He gets to having a job, he gets out of college, and guess what happens then? Shocker. He goes, "This is horrible, but once I retire, that's when my life will really begin." Bam, he gets to retirement and realizes that he's really old, his limbs are barely functioning, and he's lonely and gonna die alone. He hasn't even done anything with his life. He hasn't traveled or actually done anything memorable or done anything he wants to remember, and it's so sad. He's sad that he can't go back in time to when he was younger and do all the things that he did want to do with his life. He's gonna die sad, lonely, and full of regrets because he just kept on waiting for the next phase of his life to begin and to start living, quote unquote. He kept saying that once I get to the next phase of my life, that's when my life will really begin. But as soon as he got there, he didn't even take the time to appreciate it before deciding it sucked and wanting to move on to the next phase. He didn't even try to make the most out of it. He didn't try to live. But guess what? We're not immortal, and as great as that would be, we spend too much time waiting and wishing for things that are probably not going to happen, and wishing we could be in another part of our lives. Right now, like I wish I was 5 years old again. I am telling my brother, and literally any kid his age who will listen to me, that they really need to enjoy their childhood days because I would give anything, literally anything, to go back to that. When I was 5, my biggest issues were not being able to play outside because it was raining, or not being able to subtract 7 from other numbers and whatnot. None of the things I have to deal with now. It's sad how when you're a little kid, all you want is to just grow up already. And it sucks that when you get to that point in your life, when you're older and life is really happening to you, all you want is to be a little kid again. Don't live your life the way the numb boy turned man did. Choose to live your life and appreciate this phase of life now, because you will never know. You never know when you'll wish to get it back. Don't die with so many regrets over what you could have done. I saw this thing, and it was like, I wasted my skinny and pretty days thinking I was fat and ugly, and I was just like, that's so true. I feel like when I'm 60 and like, or like not even 60, but like my mom's age, she's in her early 40s. I'm gonna look back on how I looked now and be like, damn, she was so pretty. Why didn't I like her then? And now I feel like that's a big reason of why I've gotten more comfortable with my appearance, because I'm like, later in my life, I am going to really miss the way I looked now. So why not just decide that I'm pretty and like, yeah, now. Like, why can't I do that? So the choice is easy. It's just implementing it is hard. And that story is something that's really stuck with me over the years, and I hope it does the same for you. Or at least reminds you of the fact that you need to live now. Don't delay your happiness or starting life like the boy in the story did. Live your life now so you don't regret it later. Because if you don't live now, you are going to regret it. You just don't know when. Do something today your future self will thank you for. Don't wait to start on your goals. People wait till January 1st to start working on their goals. You don't have to wait till then, you can start now. There's literally nothing stopping you but yourself. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is gratitude. Gratitude is such a big part of living in the moment. Living in the moment, it means to be like you're present and to be in that moment and not wishing you were somewhere else. Like being there, fully present and absorbed in whatever we're doing or whatever's going on in said moment. And in order to do that, we We have to choose to be grateful for what we have. We have to appreciate what we have. We have to appreciate these moments and be grateful for them, because there will always be people with more than us and always be people with less than us. There's so much to be grateful for. So many things. Like off the top of my head, I am grateful for my family, even if they piss me off so much. My friends, any other relationships I have in my life, food, chocolate, my running app, my room, my curly hair, having access to clean and fresh water, having a roof over my head, and that is just a few out of the many things I am grateful for in my life. Being grateful for the life that we have and the life that we are living can make it so much easier to be present in the moment, and to just simply pay more attention to our lives. I feel like these next few minutes are going to be a whole bunch of me going in circles and saying a ton of things that don't make sense, but please bear with me. I don't know how to explain this stuff, and it will make sense in a short bit, or I really hope it does. But for example, like, I really don't want to go to high school. But I am grateful to have an education, which is something a ton of people really kill for. Like, as much as I regret going to school sometimes, and I'm just like, I don't want to go to school today, would I drop out now and go on later in my life wishing, like, I should have stayed in school or something? No. Okay, I feel like it's a bit extreme. Would I wish to not be in school? Probably not, because my future self would really regret that. So yeah. I wouldn't wish for it to go away. I don't really know if that makes sense, but yeah, school can suck and it can be really hard most of the time, but that doesn't mean I'm not grateful for it. I cherish these experiences, which are honestly probably going to be something I look back on when I'm 80 and be like, that was such a fun time in my life, and I will make sure I have no regrets. I don't really think that made any sense, but basically me being grateful for school allows me to be in the moment and absorb what's happening and be grateful for it. I think that makes sense. Okay, moving on. Living in the moment means taking a moment to slow down for a hot second and take in our lives. It means to take in what is happening and take notice of these things, and it means to appreciate the gift of life. Appreciation is thankfulness and gratitude of all that stuff, and that makes sense. Something stupid I used to do a while ago and should really start doing again is whenever I noticed myself kind of hating everything and wishing to be anywhere else at that moment, I would just take a quick second and think, I am grateful for the moment that I am in. And I don't know what that simple thought did, but it changed everything so much, and it made everything seem a lot better. I don't know how that works so well for me, but I will start doing that again from now on. It's such a simple thing you can also implement to your life. It takes literally no effort to do. It really works. Words are powerful, so you can use that power to your advantage to make life better. Gratitude is an amazing thing. Something you can do is start a gratitude list, literally exactly as it sounds. You can start a list on your notes app, or maybe a physical list in your journal or something, with all the things you're grateful for in your life. And as you think of more things as the time goes by, just keep adding to it. And that way, whenever you feel sad or like everything sucks or the world hates you, look at the list you made. This will remind you that even when life sucks, there are good things and there are things to be grateful for in your life. A lot of the time, people want to be anywhere else when things suck, and that is not living in the moment. It's normal though, and it's okay. But being grateful even in these sucky times can help you stay present and not waste your life away. Tomorrow is never a guarantee, as much as it seems to be that way. Procrastinating stuff is a great example. We're all like, oh, I can do this later, or I can do it tomorrow. Not to be really dark here, but if you were to get hit by a bus within the next 5 minutes, or in the middle of the night somehow, that would suck. As much as we think it is, tomorrow is never a guarantee. We never know if we'll have tomorrow. Some people might live today not knowing it's their last day. Some people are always thinking, is tonight the night I don't see tomorrow? So we need to keep that in the back of our minds at all times, that tomorrow is never a guarantee. This is something really important I learned in the process about learning about living in the moment more. But thinking about life this way, that tomorrow is never a guarantee, can help you stay more present and make choices that help you live in the moment more. I don't mean live every day like it's your last. I don't mean you have to go do amazing things every day. Sometimes just make the most out of the day that you have, with the tomorrow is never a guarantee mindset. Okay, I don't really know if that made sense, but yeah. Because maybe you're scrolling on your phone and you remember that tomorrow is never a guarantee, right? Then you might quit procrastinating and actually do what needs to be done. We all want to do things that we want to remember. I feel like I'm going on more about living your life to the fullest, but living in the moment is a big part of that. The two topics are very intertwined, and living in the moment, it helps you live your life, because you could be doing the most amazing things like skydiving or seeing the Eiffel Tower or being at some huge event and really look like you're living your life to the fullest by doing things, it will look like that from the outside. But guess what? None of that will ever matter. None of that ever matters if you're not actually absorbing the moment, and if you just keep wishing you were somewhere else, somewhere more exciting or whatever. It doesn't matter if your mind isn't actually there in the moment while you're doing these things. That they won't make a dent in your life. They won't matter if you don't choose to let them. You have to actually be able to have your head in the moment in order to live it. A life not lived in the moment, and a life that you don't actually experience in the present moment, is a life that isn't actually lived. No point in doing amazing things if you wish you were anywhere but there when you're actually doing them. Literally just a waste of your life. So don't do that to yourself. If you're not ready to actually put yourself into these moments as they go on, then why does that even matter? It doesn't. Tomorrow is never a guarantee as much as tomorrow. So ignoring the small things now. Because if you're always just putting it off or going about life and it doesn't matter and wishing you were somewhere else, wishing something else, not wanting to be there in any capacity, you're gonna have so many regrets. You're gonna miss the details in those moments that actually matter. It can be hard not to wish for things. Well, I mean, we can wish for things. We all want things. Like, I want a donut right now, but I have a chocolate bar instead. Instead of eating a chocolate bar and wishing it was a donut and wasting grams of sugar on something totally pointless, I can enjoy the chocolate because, yeah, I do love chocolate. Okay, that's a really dumb example set out from my thought chain, but it's something. Choose to be there while things happen because life is way too short not to do that. Like, right now, I am savoring every bit of middle school because there's so many lasts for me. Like, I know I want to remember these things, even the sucky things. You will probably think about what you could have done differently and wish that you had lived your life. So don't disappoint your future self, especially like if you're a people pleaser. Make the most of that. Don't disappoint your future self. There are people you haven't met yet already holding you accountable to this. Next thing I wanted to talk about is like romanticizing your life. I feel like the reason we all go about our lives thinking tomorrow will be better or whatever I was talking about just now is because like the like we live a large part of our lives in routine. Gretchen Rubin says that in her book Better Than Before, that about 40% of what we do every day is habits. A large part of that is our routines. Morning routines, night routines, commuting routines, workout routines, shower routines. We have a ton of routines that we do pretty much every single day actually. And that there's like normally not much mixing it up in there. Not much that changes from day to day unless you live a life where something new and random occurs every day, then not much repetition. But for me, I go to school every weekday, or most of the time that happens. I have the same schedule every day, talk to the same people, do the same things. My workout routine literally never changes unless it's raining outside. Saturdays are nothing days, always. Sundays are the insanely busy days because there's always too many things to do on Sundays that sometimes won't even be done by Friday. That was kind of rambling. But a lot of repetition in my days, not much changes. It's the same for a ton of people. And all that repetition can make it really easy for us to just go about our days not really thinking about what we're doing. When I'm brushing my teeth, I'm not thinking about brushing my teeth. I'm thinking about what needs to be done that day, or what I need to find, or what outfit to wear for school, or like school stuff. I don't even know. Or a million other things but brushing my teeth. Literally anything but brushing my teeth. I'm thinking about while doing so. And like I love habits. Not trying to say you have to like really think super hard about brushing your teeth while brushing your teeth because yeah, but that's just an example that makes it easier to understand what I'm trying to say. The same thing applies for the rest of the things we do today. Romanticizing our lives can make us more aware of the mundane things we do every day and can make them a bit more fun and an experience, sort of. It gives us a little bit of variety in our otherwise very repetitive lives. I have a whole episode on romanticizing your life, so you can listen to that for a more like in-depth explanation. And that was actually a really fun episode. Okay, so there are actually tons of ways to romanticize your life, so that's a good place to get started in romanticizing your life. Just make the most out of every moment, and a reminder, I'm not saying life has to be perfect and beautiful all the time. There are days and times and things that suck, and we can do nothing about it. It might be completely out of our control, and that's okay. You can really only try to control what you can, because otherwise, why are you worrying about things you can't control? Because it really doesn't make sense. But romanticizing your life gives you a way to get out of the daily, boring, repetitive routine, and that can help us live in the moment more. It means to make the most out of all the simple moments. If you like to read, maybe set up a reading nook and get some candles and light them. Get your favorite beverage to drink while reading, some cute throw pillows or blankets, something like that. Make the simple thing of reading a whole lot more. Another good way to romanticize your life routine, like adding a morning moment into your morning routine, just 5 to 10 minutes to do something to wake your brain up, maybe reading for a little bit, making a nice cup of coffee, stretching for a little bit, something like that. It makes your morning just so much better, and it makes it feel like a ton better um, than like getting up and running out the door. When I do that, it's like, where's the morning gone? Like 1 minute I'm waking up trying to get my shit together, and then the next minute I'm in school trying to also get my shit together. But yeah, putting effort into your appearance, that's a great way to like romanticize your life too. When you feel like you look good, you feel so much better and happier, and like life is better and more exciting. Just find some ways to romanticize your life and switch up your routine. Okay, so this kind of goes along with my last point, but also doesn't. Like appreciating and finding the small joys in things, the small joys in life. A big reason we don't really be present in these everyday moments is that we just go about life and let time pass by like nothing. Of course, is because of routine. Routines are great, but sometimes they suck. There are pros and cons to absolutely everything. Appreciating the small things in life can also help us be more aware of what's happening throughout daily routines. Those small things that bring us joy, we have to work a little bit harder to see them. We have to put a bit more focus into finding those things. But that's what makes them even better, and that's why we appreciate them more and more. Sometimes the small joys are the better ones. And when you're actually trying to look for the small joys, you're more aware of what's going on. You're really taking your surroundings and what's around you, plus who's around you as you search for these small joys. Make a mental or physical list of all the tiny things that made you happy that day. Maybe you saw a bird or found a pretty flower, or you met a friend, or something like a workout. Maybe you just washed your hair and you like how clean your hair feels. The minor things like that, things that don't really seem to matter, when we look for them, they can bring us immense joy and happiness. And it helps us live in the moment because we're looking for these bright spots within the moments we are in rather than waiting for something or being somewhere else mentally than where you are right now. Some people might be like, there's no point celebrating something so small. Well, when you celebrate both the big things and small things, you get more celebration in your life, and if you only than if you only decided to celebrate the big things. And we all want more celebration and happiness in our lives, not less. Something you can try is to make like a mental list or a list in your notes app of the small things you find each day that make you happy. This is a great way to practice living in the moment more often, and a ton of times living in the moment is hard, but it's still really important to enhance the quality of our lives. When we are living in the moment, everything is better. We won't feel like the whole day has disappeared because we are more aware of what has been done that day, and we're actually there mentally while doing those things. When we're like, let's say, writing an essay, if you're thinking about all the other things that need to be done while writing that essay, it's not going to be a very good essay. But if you're focused on that essay in the moment, that essay is probably going to be pretty good. It just makes life so much better. Going back to appreciating small joys. Living in the moment is also about appreciating your life and going about life as it comes your way. And when you appreciate the small joys, that is appreciating your life. Life is about all the things that happen, all the big joys and the small joys. Finding these small joys helps you improve like your mindfulness too, and that can make you be able to live in the moment more instead of just dwelling on the past or worrying about the future like we seem to have a natural tendency to do. Next thing, don't delay your happiness. I don't really know how, but I feel like happiness and living in the moment are sort of connected in some way. But delaying good things in general, waiting to be happy, waiting to live life like the boy in the story that I talked about earlier. Happiness is a big part of living your life to the fullest you can, and living in the moment can help you absorb that living your life. That's how they're connected. Delaying your happiness is saying that you don't get to be happy now. It's thoughts like, when I have this job, I'll be happy. We put our happiness into the hands of unreliable external factors. That's dumb, because all you're gonna do when you get that thing, you don't even process it before you're like, oh, well, I got this thing, but now I actually need to get this to be happy. You keep on promising yourself that you will be truly happy when you get this thing or that thing, but it just never ends up working out. Would these things, like good skin and good hair, make our lives better? Yes, they most likely would. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wishing for it. But our happiness does not lay within those things. We are not giving up our happiness and putting it in the hands of those external things. Because you know what? None of it will ever matter if you don't choose to be happy about those things. Happiness is a choice, not a thing that happens. I don't know. You have to choose to be happy about something in order for it to make you happy. Delaying your happiness just won't work. Because by living in the moment, we are choosing to live in the now. not in the past, not in the future, not in what could have happened, not in what should have happened, or any of that stuff for that matter. We are taking each and every moment as it comes and choosing to be there in that moment. Life is a gift. It's a beautiful gift that is given to us. And we all love gifts and presents, and each day is a present to open. Within that, there are thousands more presents. These moments in your days. When you're not living in the moment, you're essentially throwing an amazing person away. Why would you do that? It's just sad. I like this gift analogy to explain living in the moment because it's good and it makes sense. Going back to delaying your happiness, it's just sad in my opinion. Why would you tell yourself to be happy later when you can just as easily make the choice to be happy now? Like I said, choices are easy to make. They're just hard to implement. We all want to be happy now, right? Better now than later. Even if we are very patient people, it is still better to get good things faster than later. So choose to be happy now and quit waiting for a time in your life or like something or to get something to have or like wait for something to happen in order to let yourself be happy because that's just really useless and hopeless. It's just not going to work. Sometimes the greatest gratification lies in the journey as opposed to the destination. We can still work for these things if we want them, but they shouldn't determine our happiness as a whole. Think of your happiness as a possession you wouldn't trust anyone but yourself to take care of. Because your happiness is something you shouldn't leave in the hands of anyone or anything but yourself and your mind. Choosing happiness is a major mindset shift. And it doesn't and won't happen very easily. You can just be like, I will start choosing to be happy right now. And I mean, it's not just gonna happen like that because it really won't. Mindset shifts, even the smallest ones, they take a ton of work and constantly practicing the mindset shift you want to implement because mindset is something you have to consistently practice for it to stick. We place too high of a value on these external things, and then we're surprised when they don't make us happy. You may or may not be able to change your circumstances, but you know when you can change your mindset. You can change your attitude towards the whole situation. Final thing I wanted to talk about is how technology makes it really hard for us to live in the moment. So a lot of us have phones. There are so many things we can do with our phones, positive and negative. And these days, most people are very busy, and free time is a rare thing. So whenever we do get some free time, whether it be 3 minutes or a full hour, we don't really know what to do. So we go on our phones or watch TV or scroll through social media or something like that. All of the time, if you take a minute when you're in public, let's just say like maybe you're in line at a grocery store or maybe in the metro, everybody's on their phones, or everyone who has a phone is on their phones. We are all guilty of this. I'm always on my phone on car rides and waiting in lines and whatnot. Because that's just a habit and a normal thing at this point. Screens are a major part of our lives, but they don't and shouldn't be the main part of our lives. We all spend way too much time on screens, even if we think we don't. I actually thought I spent almost no time on screens. Turns out I spent twice as much time on screens as I should. And that's not even accounting for school stuff. So kind of a lot. Um, Mostly for school, but like even the stuff outside of school, it all adds up. These days, most people actually spend about 40% or so of their waking hours on screens, and that is a lot. That is 40% of our time that could be spent doing so many other things. If you put that time towards something like starting a business, you probably would have had a pretty successful business with all that time put into it. You would have made a ton of money. Or let's say you spent it reading. That would be a ton of books read. And books are great. Or maybe you put it towards a hobby. You would probably master whatever that hobby was and have a lot of fun doing so. It's just so sad how much of our lives are based on screens when there's honestly so many other things we could be doing. We could be we could be learning new things. We could be spending time with people. We could be meeting new people. We could be learning new things. We could be trying new foods. We could move. We could travel. There's just so many things we could do that aren't with screens. Some things we should be doing that aren't with screens. The number of paintings I could do with all those extra hours is insane. The amount of anything I could do with all those extra hours is really insane. But when we're on screens, we don't really take in what's around us. We don't notice the world that is happening around us. When we reduce our screen time, we can live in the moment more because our focus is on what's happening around us, not on the phone or whatever. Even if it seems dumb, it's actually so much better to read a book. If you carry a purse around with you anyways, just keep a book in there. Or instead of your phone, carry around like a map on your rack. It's bigger than a phone, but it's fine. Be that person who isn't on their phones when on a metro or a subway or whatever. Maybe your Uber. Read a book. Or maybe you can carry around a sketchbook and draw something in your eyes. It's another great way to live in the moment. Less screens, live more. That was all I had to say on living in the moment, and I really hope that helps. So, to end our episode today, I have a quote for you guys for someone whose name I could not say with it. It saved my life. The quote goes, "The present moment is filled with joy and
happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. Bye, guys. Rate, review, follow, leave a comment on, and share this podcast. Please, please, please go follow me on Instagram at theglowupguidepodcast. Drink some water, and I love you all.